Farmer Business, the art of winning. Thanks for another episode. I know you're on holiday. I know you're relaxed. I know you're chilled. So if you're listening to me, I am truly grateful. For those other guests from around the world, let's go on a ride. We're still talking a little bit around presentations today, how to speak with credibility. So someone requested that from an email, so I thought I'd talk about the subject. And although you're listening when you're suntanning, and you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be doing any presentations. But it's still relevant. Let's think about it. Every day is about credibility. Every time you meet someone, never get a second chance on a first impression. My mentor, Peter Daniels, a fellow Australian, I met him about 30 years ago. I actually was driving him around. He's a famous speaker, wrote the book, Mrs. Phillips, You Are Wrong. I read that book several times. But he actually mentioned I wasn't really dressing that great at a young age of 23, I think I was. And he said, William, you never get a second chance on a first impression. And one of the answers was, well, God judges the heart of a person. Yeah, but he's the only one who does. And so credibility is about how you present yourself, whether it's next to that person that's standing over there in the bar or someone that you're meeting, your neighbor, or someone socially that you haven't met but you've been introduced to. So that's all part of that credibility. Next is obviously in business, because this is business, the art of winning. We have to build credibility. We have to do that online. We have to do that in person. We have to do that with a pitch, a sales pitch, or if we want to get promoted, or we're looking for a new opportunity with another business. So let's talk about how to speak with credibility, how to engage, how to make that first impression a good one. So look, one of the things that I remember when I was in my early 20s, and just to highlight what I said about Peter Daniels, I was brought up in a very small town. The town I was brought up is called Wairau Military Camp. It's in the middle of New Zealand, right next to Mount Ruapehu. I actually went to Ruapehu School, which is in Ohakuni. And so the reason why I'm saying it is so small, right? It was a small town with small town thinking. And so, but I didn't know it was small. You know, that's one fantastic thing about being a kid, right? You don't know. You don't know that you don't know. And it's only when you start to get a perspective of life that you start to realize, oh, maybe that's the reason why I did what I did. That's the reason why I behaved the way I behaved, because I didn't know. I didn't know any different. And so I remember when I was 21 years old, my girlfriend Joyce at the time, what a fantastic girl she was. She took me out. She said, hey, well, you're 21 years old and you've got your 21st. And I had several of them, I had several parties, 3 of them to go. I think you should wear a suit. And so I remember going to a suit store, and I'd never really bought new clothes. My father taught me to save all my money. By the time I was 19 years old, and this is way, way back in the early 80s, I'd saved like $22,000, which would probably be the equivalent of maybe 100,000 plus. And for someone of my age, that was pretty unheard of. So I didn't really like to spend any money on myself. I wanted to save, I wanted to invest, and that was something that my father instilled in me. So anyway, I saw the suit, and it was black. I remember it was beautiful black, but it had these white flicks in it, and it was really quite 80s. And it had like a sheen on it. It had a sheen on it. And I remember wearing it and thinking that I was so cool looking. It was so nice. So anyway, wore it around in my 20s. It was really great. But then, eventually I got involved in Dale Carnegie a couple of years later, and I didn't really own a suit. So, I pulled out that suit, thought it looked pretty cool, and it didn't really look cool at all. It looked great for a 21st, for a young guy, just on the edge of the 80s and some of the 80s music. But as a professional attire, it didn't look that great. And but I had enthusiasm, and people listened to me because of my life experience. And I started to take some of the Dale Carnegie classes. Anyway, I had a general manager who was running a port. His name was Graham. And Graham, he really liked me. We worked together for 6 months. And he was GM. His business was doing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And he must have took a shot at me. He said, look, can I buy you lunch? And I said, yeah, sure, Graham. So he takes me to this very, very posh gentleman's club. Not the gentleman's club, but a real gentleman's club where they, have napkins over the thing and all the rest of it. And, beautiful silverware with, like 5 forks, 5 knives. which I'd never seen from my small town perspective. And someone came and served us silver service all the way. And he said, well, can I give you some feedback? And I said, yeah, sure, Graham, sure. He said, your dress sense sucks. And my heart was like, I was feeling the thud in my heart. Oh yeah, you could have been gentler. I'm glad you took me out for lunch. But anyway, I listened to him, and he was impeccably dressed. Like, he was impeccable. And I said, Graham, I just don't know what to choose. I don't really know what to buy. And he said, this is what you buy. There's this, and he gave me a whole section. And you know what? To my word, I actually invested in that clothing and attire, and eventually he gave me some feedback that I had done some dramatic things in my first impression. Here's the point. The point is, and look, dress sense has changed. I'll talk a little bit about that. I couldn't come across credible in the 3-second rule. How long do we take before we ascertain someone's value, or whether they're confident, or whether we can suss them out? We do that really quick. Maybe 3 seconds would be our immediate impression. 30 seconds would be a longer impression. Certainly after around 15 minutes, we'll know. We'll know this person in regards to our initial impression of that particular person. I think because I was so enthusiastic, a lot of people bought into what I had to say, and I was really knowledgeable around Carnegie material because I just didn't read it. I actually lived it. And so they followed regardless of how I looked. But it wasn't until I had that feedback where I could start to get greater alignment. What I say, how I look, and how I say it, that has a big bearing on building credibility. Now, my new partner, Dawn, who's Scottish, and look, she's immaculate. One of the most immaculate women I've ever dated. And she gave me other feedback. I'd actually got my professional attire really, really good. My personal attire, she said, it's a little bit incongruent. So this color doesn't match with this color. And, like when you wear a jacket on a really, really hot day, it actually sends the wrong signals to people. This is what you should do. And did I enjoy that feedback? No way, man. I'm a guy. I like to go out there and conquer and win, Please don't bust my bubble of deluded grandeur, okay? But anyway, you know what? It was the best feedback I've ever had. And I've shifted a few things in the way I now dress, because I'm now 50-something, young, right? And so my point is this. Peter Daniels was right. Never get a second chance on the first impression. And here's some of the other things too. We actually tailor our tone based on whether we want to impress or not, or we want to keep neutral. And so a lot of the time we'll use neutral language, we'll use a neutral tone so that we're missed, so that people don't get much of an impression of us. We're just like blanded. And look, I get that. That's a protectionism that we may have decided to adapt because we don't want that much attention. But when we are wanting to build credibility, we've got to tune it up. We can't just stay on that radio station. We've got to move into other parts of us. Now, that doesn't mean you're being disingenuous about you. It's just another part of you. So when I'm flashed up, looking great, that doesn't mean I'm not being William Farmer from Wairau Military Camp, because that person's never going to die. That person helped me get to where I am today, but I'm not playing that person in that moment. I'm playing a different person, a projected person of a new reality in that present time, and I have to turn up for that. And so how we dress and what we say and how we say it is incredibly important to that first impression and building credibility. So one of the things that we teach in presentation skills, like when it used to be a joke, and for those in Dale Carnegie, I'm sure you can appreciate this, Greg, if you're listening in. You knew you were in Dale Carnegie when you wore a suit to mow the lawn. And look at some of my customers, and usually it's banking, insurance to a degree, unless you're in the funky part of insurance, and law. In law, they still wear suits. They still wear suits. And, I like it too. They look really crisp, very professional. But everyone used to wear a suit when I started out in business 30-something years ago. Everyone used to wear a tie. And then it changed. And people started to look at is it really the attire that makes the difference, or is it the person that makes the difference? And so we started to play with colors. At the moment, you can see that I'm wearing a jacket, I'm wearing a V-neck. For some of you who go, man, I thought this was out of business. Will, why are you wearing a V-neck? Because I'm comfortable in my own space now. And you know, sometimes I like to choose to do that. It doesn't make me less credible, but I have to pull it off internally to external. And plus, you know, in Queensland, where it is 38 degrees, you know, not a bad choice. It might look incongruent for me to wear a tie and a shirt buttoned up. That might look incongruent to my market. So you have to think about, what is your market? Who are you talking to? How do you be relatable? And how do you build that credibility? I had a brilliant trainer. And for some of those Dale Carnegieites, you know this person. His name is Dick Morgul. And Dick used to talk about first impressions as well. And one of the things, he was also incredibly well dressed, but he made an incredible impression by his listening skills. It was more about his essence that I remember. This person was just knitted well together. Now, I'm sure it was refined by fire. And anybody who you've met who's quite evolved has usually been refined by fire. But when I met him, he was calm. He would listen as if you were the only person on the planet, even if you weren't. And when he did speak, it was probably more around what you had already said, with some highlights on how you could improve things. And if you bought into what he had to share, it would probably make a profound difference in your life. So, you know, not just what you dress like, but who you are. In fact, I love what Dale Carnegie said in his book, The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking, when he was talking about presentations. One of the comments, or in one of his chapters, was learn to be a good person, skilled in the art of conversation, skilled in the art of speaking. Work on the stuff that people don't see. Now, in our high impact presentations program, we work on the stuff that you do see. So we do presentations, about 7 to 8 presentations in 2 days. It's all filmed, and you get to see that presentation immediately, or 20 seconds after you actually delivered it. And the reason why we create that environment for people is because we want them to see things how others see things. And we want them to be able to go, hey, what is your body language saying here? What's your eyes saying? What's your mouth saying? Is it congruent? Is it aligned? And what does your dress say? Okay, is that aligned? Because when you want to build credibility, you want strong alignment. What you say, how you say it, how you look, are they aligned? Okay? And when they are aligned, wow, you can make a huge impact on people. And also, what it does is it works on your internal world. My son, Liam, you know, he's you know, your typical 15-year-old. He's, you know, like trying to find his own identity and his clothes. And so I took him shopping, and man, did he not want to go shopping. He just did not want to go. And anyway, I said, look, Liam, I know you don't want to be here, but try these trousers on. No. I said, look, if you want any food, try these trousers on. Well, he was hungry, so he did try the trousers on. And I got him a nice shirt. It was actually really cool. And he put it on, and I could see a little smile going on in his face. The guy there was really helpful, and he was about a little bit, obviously a couple of years older than Liam. Maybe he's 18 years old, and that really helped. And then I got him to buy this really beautiful jacket, and he put it on. I tell you, I watched this young man straight back, and he started to admire himself in the mirror. And so, you know what? It's interesting. Sometimes your external can actually have an internal effect. And anybody's worn any garment that is just beautiful, and you go, oh my gosh, I look awesome. That color looks great on me. And you know, internally, it's just reflecting what you can see externally. Now, I work all day, every day, working on the internal world, because I think internally, if you can start to be kinder to yourself, know your awesomeness, then externally, doesn't matter what you're wearing, right? But, you know, internal and external are aligned. So if you want to build that credibility, remember, never get a second chance on a first impression. It doesn't matter whether you're in your in Australia, we call them the thongs. No, actually, we don't call them togs. But, you know, when you're in your shorts okay, and you're meeting someone in Byron Bay, eye contact, shake their hand, okay, or do the bump, whatever it is, you can feel that person's energy. You can feel it. If that person's alive, has got energy, okay, or whether it be neutral because they want to be missed. So turn up. And then you can play with some of the external things like, how you look, color coordination, all right? Grooming, if that's your thing. I'm fascinated by these guys who wear beards, and some of them just look really awesome, and they've got a bit of art going on, and they look crisp. Some of them just like burly beards, and it just looks like nothing. It's just a creative expression there. Now, I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong. I'm just saying that is all a part of your alignment, and that's okay, as long as that is intentional. If it's unintentional and you're unconscious of what message you might be saying against what you think you're saying, that's when you may want to consider, hey, what can I do to be more congruent with my message? So today has been all about credibility, and to work on the internal and the external world, you should consider a Dale Carnegie course. It is one of the best programs on the market, bar none. And looks, all the great sages of our time and previous 100 years have also advocated whether they've done the program. They certainly respect the work of how to win friends and influence people. Dale Carnegie actually wrote the book as a result of his classrooms. Not many people know that. It actually grew out of the classroom experience. So he always intended for you to have that experience. And you can have that experience on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of February, 2022. Oh my gosh. Man, I can't even believe it. 2022. 4 days, what is it, 28th, 29th? Yeah, 3-4 days, we're going to be in the new year. Hey, maybe we have new relationships with new outcomes if we can get that alignment right. So I'll encourage you to do that. Dale Carnegie course on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th here in sunny Brisbane. I'm William Farber. This has been Business, the Art of Winning. Thank you for listening in. Let's join together. Let's work together in the new year and make it a good one.